Okay, it's 4:30. I think we're good to get started. So we're going to start by roll call.
Albertine Allen. Dennis Carroll.
Here.
Marty Corley.
Present.
Steve Garner. Diana Gore.
Here.
Melody Haynes.
Here.
Abigail May.
Here.
Nancy Moldenauer.
Here.
Mary Ellen Quinn.
Here.
Tyra Robinson Walker.
Here.
Joanne Tedesco.
Here.
Sharon Wright. You have a quorum.
Thank you. At the June 4th meeting, there was not a quorum, so the minutes for the May meeting were not able to be approved.
I believe the one before that also. Correct.
Yes.
So
Okay.
April and May.
So we have to approve April and May, and we'll take them separately. Would anyone like to make a motion to approve the April minutes?
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Would anyone like to make a motion to approve the May minutes?
So moved.
You didn't take the vote.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah.
The opposing.
Oh, I'm sorry. I oppose. Would anyone like to make a motion to approve the May minutes?
I so motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Financial report. I think we should talk about our financial report and that we haven't had one for some time. Carl, have you had any communication with Sharon?
Sharon resigned as of the last meeting in June.
Okay.
And so we do need to have a new treasurer.
Did she
I just
send?
have a question about the June. There wasn't an official meeting, but there wasn't an official meeting in May either. And there were some June notes that were taken. Did you need to approve those or not?
We already did that.
No, you did April and you did May.
We did April and May.
Oh.
Now, this is June.
Oh, okay.
For the people who were at the June meeting, were there any items that you wanted to vote on that you set aside until you had a quorum? It didn't seem as though there were.
There were some notes taken. I don't know if Carl had a chance to disperse them to everyone.
Yeah, we got the.
Yeah, we got
Yeah.
those, but via email. We should approve those
You should have, I was asking if you wanted to.
because they're a record of our meeting.
Make a motion to approve June minutes.
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay,
Sorry for the.
that's okay. I actually didn't read them in full, but I trust your judgment. Yeah. So before Sharon resigned, did she provide a financial report?
No, she did not, because Sharon's last meeting, I think, might have been April. But I did for our ledger.
Okay.
And our ledger currently, after all deposits that came from the luncheon, so that we have a balance of $6,620.52. There have been no transactions since April 23rd.
Okay. I think that, I don't know where we'd like to put it or where it's appropriate to put it, but we should have a conversation about nominating a treasurer. We could maybe add that to new business.
Sure.
Okay.
I had a question too about the $200 check that was to be issued for Pride. That was never received. And that was part of the budget that was approved by us whenever we approved the last budget. And I know the Pride Committee did submit a letter for that.
Here's the letter from the Pride Committee. However, as I previously stated, when we turn things into controller, they want documentation in the minutes of the motion to approve it. There's no specific mention of Pride, even though we have an approved budget. We did not have any official documentation. Therefore, we need to actually make that motion and approve it.
So let's do that because we missed the opportunity of being included as a sponsor on all the materials.
Anybody wants to see their letter is here. we had it available at past meeting.
Okay.
If anybody would like to see it.
Yeah, that's so unfortunate. Well, hopefully that isn't something that happens again. So just to make sure that doesn't happen again, since we did miss out on the opportunity to be listed as a sponsor on something we had intended to sponsor, could you review that just one more time for anybody who's submitting something, what that process would be to make sure that it happens in the time frame that's intended? Just review that one more time.
Letters of request for a donation or sponsorship should be, if I'm not mistaken, 45 days before.
It was in the budget.
And so
Even if it's in the budget?
I'm not sure, I'm not, Larry?
If we already have it in the budget, and we've already approved it, and we voted on it, and it's specifically in the budget for that event, then I don't think we need another letter or.
So was the issue that we didn't vote on it, but that we only had it in the budget?
No, the controller's office like to see it in your minutes,
Yes.
actually voted on in your minutes opposed to your budget.
Right, that's what I'm saying. So was the issue that we didn't vote on it in a meeting and we
Right, so
only had it in
we
the
can vote on
budget?
it now, here, today.
So let's take care of it, would be my,
Sure, and in the future, we'll know that even if something's in the budget, we'll have to get ahead of it.
Bless you.
Okay. Would someone like to make a motion?
I make a motion that we approve the $200 sponsorship to the Pride Parade event.
fest.
Fest.
Not a parade.
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Okay, so for the financial reports and the treasurer, we'll move that down to new business. Executive director's report?
Earlier this month, we had the Indiana Consortium of State and Local Human Rights annual conference. Myself, Ms. Gore, and Larry Arness attended. I think it was very enlightening, and we'll be looking forward for ideas, topics that our commission may feel needs to have some be addressed in a public forum sometime next year. But there's ample opportunity for local agencies to get involved and become a voice around the state. So I would hope next year that we could get more commissions to go, and they are actually trying to make it convenient financially for commissions to be involved.
Carl, do you know if they decided where they're gonna hold it?
No, that hasn't been determined yet. We'll be having our quarterly meeting sometime shortly. This morning I received a resignation letter from Stephen Garner. Mr. Garner expressed that he has some obligations that conflict with his attending and being involved with the Human Rights Commission. In addition, Sharon Wright had also advised me that she had resigned as well. So we actually have 2 vacancies.
We have 3, actually. We've talked about this, so I don't know if you told the rest of the
No.
commission or not. I'm resigning due to a move to Indianapolis based on family needs. So I do have a couple of people. I would love if anyone's out there to fill the position. It's not up to me, obviously, but with a heart for the disability community. I am
great.
sad. I'm glad to have been on the commission, but it's something my family has to do for a family member of mine. So
Wow. We'll miss you,
Yeah, we-
Joanne.
Thank you.
I'll miss you guys. I can't talk about it, seriously. It wasn't in the cards, let me just put it that way, so.
I know.
I think it's wonderful that you have people in mind that would be able to continue the type of work that you started, because you started such impressive and meaningful work.
Thank you. See if they do it or not, you can only kind of lead the
Yeah.
horses there and then you guys
And
see
get
if
their
they're the right
names,
people.
get their names and,
Carl has 2
Perfect.
nominees.
thank you for doing that.
Yeah, just to review again, they have to be appointed by the
By the mayor,
mayor.
yes, they did the
approved by
paperwork.
City council.
Oh, they
Exactly.
did?
Yes.
Good.
There's 2 in the hopper from the mayor's office, so,
Oh, great,
That's wonderful.
yeah,
awesome.
so that's there. Hopefully it'll help to keep things rolling.
Yeah,
But thanks, everybody. Can I just make, oh, you're not done yet, are you?
I was just gonna say, if
Okay.
anybody else has any additional, people that they would like to, bring forward to the commission, please do so.
Great.
I'll just wait till new business. Were you able to print that out? The marketing material?
I did.
No, okay. Sorry.
Okay. And, in addition to the treasurer, of course, we'll certainly need to have a finance committee meeting for a budget sometime. Marty?
Yes, not committees.
We,
Need to get the
yeah, we've
treasurer.
gone a long time about feeling uncertain of where we stood with the financial staff and the treasurer position, so I'm glad that everybody's been able to make the call that they need to make for themselves, and so that we'll be able to move forward, efficiently.
And finally, we just have 4 EEO cases that are pending. We're waiting further information on them. And that will conclude our report.
Okay, thank you. Staff attorney report?
I do want to talk about the consortium, so I'm going to do that. First, I do want to say that Joanne, you haven't been here all that long, but you've been very active when you were here, and I will miss you, and I think you were
Thank
all
you.
commissioners should emulate you and try to be as active as you've been. And
I appreciate
I
that.
hope it works out well. in
Again, it wasn't in
Indianapolis.
the cards, so thank you for that.
It's a nice town.
Thanks.
And the other thing, as far as the consortium, I understand we have to have a motion to approve the expenses for the people that went down, including myself, so I will call for that at some point. Carl, do you have the totals, or did,
No, I need your, invoice or however.
I sent that to you? I sent that to you by email at the time,
Okay,
and it was
okay, I'll pull it.
it was 130, okay, I'll go on and you can take a look at it. 134, or maybe there was a fee in there or something. I do want to talk a little bit about the consortium because I think it was fantastic. And for those that don't know, this is an organization of all the civil rights groups in the state, and they meet once a year. And they have a lot of educational things is the main thing, but they also have fun, and you could meet other people and you could find out what other agencies are doing. I didn't even know because Carl doesn't toot his horn, but he's the vice president of the consortium. He gave a speech. He gave one of the major awards, the Frida Hawkins Award, and I thought he did a fantastic job. So I was not aware of that. So again, I would urge you to attend if you can attend. I told Diane I would call on her and let her talk, but she didn't really want to do that. So I know she liked it because she sent me an email, and that'll be up to her if she wants to speak. I did want to talk about one thing, the probable cause way that we do things, and we had this last group of them, and there were like 6 of them, I think, and there were no probable cause found in all of them. And I just wanted to make sure that people don't feel that you have to find probable cause just because there were 6 cases. The Indiana Civil Rights Commission had 500 employer charges, and they only found probable cause on 16. So that's about 3% of those that were filed. So, and they talked about how it's important to have a good case. It's better to have a good case than to try to take something just to do something. Careful selection of the case, of the claimant, of the client is very important. They talked a lot about damages. We don't have a whole lot of damages, but what's important for us is to have a claimant who is involved in it and is going to see it through, because it's a long and difficult process. Other than Mary Ellen, I don't know if anybody else has been through the public hearing process that we had, and it's a very long and very difficult one for us, and then also for the regular court system in the way of attorney's fees for the city. Our last one proceeded to the circuit court in LaPorte, and then it proceeded to the Indiana Supreme Court. So I just wanted to highlight that I thought that percentage, I thought, well, maybe Indianapolis, maybe they find more probable cause. But no, 16 out of 500 for about 3%. Their average settlement was $5,500. So again, people are not going to be making millions of dollars, and we're limited, according to our ordinance, as to what we can give. In employment cases, it has to be a matter of wages, so it's not a whole lot. But even ICRC, their average settlement, $5,500. So I do think we did a good job the last time around. Hopefully we won't let them sit around as long, so we won't have a backlog of 6. But I just got the feeling that when we had 6, people were feeling, well, maybe one of these should have went. But that would have been more than 10%. So you've got to look at the case. This is what you do when you go there. You go through these processes that tell you, when you go to the consortium, that tells you, what is a good case, what isn't a good case, and you get some education. So if they do it again, if they do it in Indy did a real nice job. It wasn't too bad getting down there. If they do it anywhere up here, I would urge you to go to it. I mean, I'm telling you right now, I'm not going to it if it's in Evansville or if it's in Richmond or some of those outlines. It's just too far to go. But if they do it close by, I was very happy to see a commissioner. It's been a long time since we had a commissioner there. And it's pretty rare. I think South Bend had one commissioner there last week, so they're bigger than us, so they only had one also. So I was very happy to see Diane there. I thought Carl did a wonderful job. And I can't talk about it anymore because this is what we do. And these are the people that do this kind of work. And if you go down there, you could talk to them other than your commissioners here, and you can find out what the heck they're doing and what's important to those agencies. And I don't know, I didn't get up to the hospitality. I tried to.
Oh, I don't believe it.
I did go up there, but it was closed. It was not open yet, and it was pouring down rain, so I left, so I afraid I was getting caught in a deluge. I just wanted to find out what it was like, but darn.
Just to interject, one thing that I thought was so important was the diversity of different areas that they spoke on as far as the various sessions were concerned. And then the people were so wonderful and willing to help. Give me a call and whatever, and we'll come up, or we'll contact you, back and forth. And so you're not sitting in a little corner by yourself. They don't let you be lonely. They just come over, and next thing you know,
very
you're
welcoming and very friendly. Because I don't know most of those people. And I've been here a long time. I don't know them.
And they're not all from Indiana. There was a couple of them from
Connecticut,
yeah.
Virginia,
Yes.
Kentucky.
So don't feel that just because you might be the only one that you're going to be singled out or lonely or something, because Diana wasn't. And it's they had some wonderful speakers. I mean, Karen Friedman Wilson was one of the speakers, and the speaker at the lunch was excellent. Did an excellent job. So they really, and we did a good job, and we did it here in Michigan City, but the problem is it's so expensive to get all these speakers in, and even you're just putting them up, and it's really kind of too much for a small organization like ours. But Indianapolis did it really well. So hopefully we'll be going back there again relatively shortly. So that's all I have.
Thank you. Social status?
Most of you already maybe might know, maybe don't know. Social status, Mr. Hubert was there, I think, at social status the last time, so I'm going to let him speak about that because he's here now. And Arthur Payne was going to have a possible guest speaker. Antoine Burks from Arise and Shine, who's located on Garfield, and they feed the homeless and they give clothes out and other items. If you have any items or clothes to donate, please stop by Arise and Shine. Antoine Burks on Garfield. And let's see, you probably already know this too, but I'm going to do my job. Congratulations to Trevon James, who graduated from college. He attended Ivy Tech, then attended Bethel, where he received his degree. The commission contributed funding for him to attend a leadership conference in Detroit. And LaTanya, of course, Troutman stated she has graduated from college. Yes, that's already happened, from Indiana University, and congratulations to her. with a Bachelor's of Art degree in Communications and a minor in Public Policy and Environmental Affairs. How wonderful. She received a returning student scholarship from the Unity Foundation through a private donor. That's wonderful. Great. The scholarship covered the remaining classes she needs to graduate. She had to leave early then at that time. Minority Health Partners was previously Minority Health Coalition that joined with another coalition and slowly came back to LaPorte County, making it now Minority Health Partners of LaPorte County, working with health in the minority population. There was also a breast cancer awareness ball plans for October around the 15th, and breast cancer walk will be September 28th. The ball will be $50 per ticket or $400 per table, and currently seeking sponsorship as well. Letters will be out around, which is already June 1st, so you probably know about that possibly. Currently halfway through diabetes education classes held at the Smart Center with Purdue North Central Extension Program. Also looking to work with to bring some programs for the youth for the summertime. PNC has a summer camp that the health partners are working with youth there. Diabetes, cancer, obesity, and other presentations are offered. Also, 5-week intervention program open to speak to any organization. Contact Kay Hill at the Minority Health Partners, 219-879-1712, located at 2601 East Michigan Boulevard, or the trustee's office. And that is my report on that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I say something? The ball is October the 5th. And that's at the Oryx Shrine Temple, and the walk
October
is,
15th.
it's October 5th.
Pardon me?
It's October the 5th.
Yes.
Yeah, she's saying,
She's just saying
letting you know
November 5th.
it is October 5th. The
She's
correct date is
Oh, the date was wrong. It's 5th?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, Pastor Carol. We can move into committee reports. There is not an executive committee report. Special Events Committee,
No report.
Scholarship Committee,
No report.
Fundraising Committee,
No report. I still have to get, I wasn't here the last time after we did the painting, but we made $145, I believe. I get a more accurate. You know what I gave you, Carl? I think we ended up pocketing like $120, $145.
You actually deposited $275.
From the brush, from the.
Was that before the expenses of paying the
Was that, yeah,
painter,
No, because I paid her. I paid her that night, so I just gave. I didn't give you $275. No, you got that for. That wasn't me.
That wasn't me. Oh, let me double check this. Because I remember you gave $2 more than you thought you gave.
Yeah.
I mean, $10 more.
$20 more. Than
$20
yeah.
more.
So I think I gave you 145, but and then I still have to get I don't know how much the check was, but it was a small check at Holly's. She didn't tell me how much. I just stopped in to see her. So by the next meeting, I should have a total for that, and then by the next meeting, I should also have a date for our next give back.
okay. Education Committee, I had wanted to discuss with the commission and get input from Larry about if this would be, well, it's something new, if it's something that it would even be allowed, but I noticed that in our community there are a lot of people who would like to be able to contact their representatives and speak about issues that they are not okay with, either at a local, state, or federal level, and they don't know how. They don't know who to contact, or they feel intimidated by how to verbalize what they are feeling. And there are so many resources available to help you develop a calling script for if you have a stance on a certain issue, or that will draft a letter for you and say, you can put in like, I don't feel okay with this, or I think this was not okay, and they'll draft a letter, and they'll say, is this what you would like to express? And if so, then you can sign the letter and send it on to your representatives as your own. And I would like for the Human Rights Commission to offer educational material for people on how to contact their representatives and express their stance on humanitarian issues as they see them as just or unjust. Is that something that we would be able to do, or is that...
I don't, if we're just giving, we're not endorsing any particular candidates, or we're not putting one side or the other, if we're just giving a list of all
these are resources you can use.
Representatives, and I don't think there'd be a problem with that. There's a lot of resources that you can go to the library and they can give you that information. You can contact legal services.
People have a lot of,
give you that information.
People are very easily thwarted, right? They don't know how to be resourceful or exactly where to go. And in the last, few years, there have become a lot of materials available that are more digital, more connected to social media, or your, like text bot. I could go into them, but as opposed to getting yourself to the library, having the courage to ask the question of who do I contact, and then once you know who to contact, trying to put pen to paper and express. Some people won't use words that they're not sure they can spell. Some people won't talk about things they're not sure that they fully understand the legalese behind. And I think that there's an education gap in our community for giving people access to learning to be resourceful and advocate for their...
No, you're talking about state, local, the state area,
I think
state, not local, because I don't know how you break it down.
State and federal, yeah.
State and federal, okay. I don't know about writing letters for someone, because that kind of is expressing a political...
It's not that we write the letter, it's like,
so
I can text to this, like, let's say it's 4040, it isn't, but let's say, I can text that and say, I'm not okay with the conditions that children are being kept under at the border wall. And I live at 46360 is my zip code. And it'll text you back and say, okay, thank you. Is this what you'd like to express to your representative? And it'll say in appropriate verbiage, what you have expressed. And you'll say, yes, confirm. And it'll say, okay, your representative is Pete Visklosky. This is the email address you can send this to. And you now have done it, and it was so easy, and it was on your phone, and it didn't require transportation, and you didn't have to tell someone, I don't know how to say what I'm wanting to say.
So what Abby is basically saying is showing people how to get to use the resources that are available, opposed to going to the library, but more of electronic stuff, and not telling them what to say, but showing them how to use resources so they can use it to say what they want to say, and however they want to say it. But we're not endorsing no candidate. We're not telling them what to say to the candidate. We're not telling them, which candidate write to. We're just showing them the resources that they can use if they wanted to do something like that.
I also feel like we are daily, we're in a time where it's hard to sometimes differentiate between, like, is that politics? I'm not trying to get into politics versus that's a humanitarian issue. And I think it's important to hold ourselves accountable to being able to identify humanitarian issues and educate each other on how to express our, or to hold up, like, the country and the state that we love accountable to the humanitarian and civil liberties that we demand.
Well, I'm all for access to the political system, and as long as we stayed out of the local or Michigan City or even the county politics, I don't think that the city would object.
Yes, I was not suggesting local.
It would be the state.
I was suggesting
As
state
long as
and
it's
federal.
state and federal, I don't think they would object, but I'd leave it up to the commission as to what they want to do. I'm all for access.
Yeah, I do that monthly at the T-Flag meetings, that's my role.
Okay,
That
maybe we could collaborate.
I'd be happy to collaborate with you, and I'm also on the advocacy committee with Save the Dunes.
Great,
So that's sort of my niche thing.
great.
Okay, so,
Perfect.
yeah,
Thank
I think it would be great because you're empowering the people that live in Michigan City.
And I think once you
And
learn
especially
how to,
having access to the state and the federal elected officials, that's really intimidating.
it is,
A lot of people will pick up.
until it isn't.
Right,
And I
until
think
that's,
that's, yeah,
right, but a lot of people will pick up the phone and call their city council person because they know who they
Feels
are, or,
more
and
comfortable.
it's a personal thing and it's more comfortable. So I think anything we can do as a commission to empower the residents of Michigan City, I think would be a good thing.
I do too. What were you gonna say, Tara?
I was going to say I definitely like the idea of voter education. I know there are other organizations that I feel like we can do this as a partnership. Example, NAACP does voters registration.
Yeah.
I mean, so it can be more than just educating, it's voter registration, educating on this. I guess I'm just going to go out there and say I don't have a problem with it being local as well because it's an educational session. It's not saying that you're going to support one person or the other.
Yeah.
But again,
Oh, this
there
is what
are,
ward you live in and this is your person.
and this is your person, etc. All of that is education and knowledge, and to be able to give them the tools and use it however they need to do, that's what we're supposed to do in reference to what our role is in reference to education, no matter what level we're at. So whether it's local or whether it's county, whether it is state or federal, I don't have a problem with it.
Great.
And the League of Women Voters is a great
Yeah,
group
for
to
sure.
partner with if you want to talk about voter registration and educating people in that particular area.
And I think there is, you know, like you mentioned, NAACP and League of Women Voters do a great job of voter registration, but then we would be able to take it the next step and say, now that you have your candidate, here's how you can help, you know, hold your candidate accountable or let them know what you believe, you know, what you would like to see. I think that it would be a nice addition to our educational component because we have, I think, or currently we are only narrowed in education for students.
Right.
And I'd like to see in our education committee.
Because if
you
you
know,
want to affect change, you have to affect it at the local level. By the time it trickles down from federal and state, really?
Okay, so yeah, we could look at that too.
What you might want to do is refer it to the education committee to figure out how we're going to go about doing this, what specifically they're going to do, what the plan is, how they're going to get the word out. And it might
I didn't
be-
want to put, to be honest, time into it if unless I knew it was allowed. So I like the idea and I think that we can run a little.
Again, if I,
Larry said it's
although
fine.
Tyra doesn't, although Tyra doesn't see a problem with local, I could see, especially with the elections coming up, that if for some reason an executive officer thought that we were favoring one side or the other in the upcoming election, that could certainly be a
Well,
problem.
that was certainly not what I had in mind,
Yeah,
right?
it's
Well,
about
that's
just
what everybody
how to-
gets
how to
very
reach out, not how
sensitive
to-
around
How
that.
to campaign is about how to reach out.
Really,
not to
this
campaign.
came out of the
Perception
issue.
that may
Yeah.
be, that may come about, you have to be careful.
For sure. The idea really came from, I had
Tools, that's all.
Yeah, I am
Tools.
fortunate enough to have a sister who is very resourceful and connects me to things that allow me to express my, you know, my wording. And I posted something that was, you know, you can call your representative if this is not okay with you, and here's a script for you. And so many people were like, I would call all the time if I didn't feel so, you know, and I don't know what to say. And I thought, oh my gosh, geez, you know, there's so much out there. So thank you for addressing that. I hear you, and we can move forward accordingly.
You created more work.
Yeah, and you're helping them build,
Well,
No, it's great. It's
Yeah.
very, very
you're
successful.
helping them build a toolbox or a toolkit is what you're doing.
and once people start to feel, you know, it's intimidating until it isn't, and then that really, I think, pours into other parts of your life. Okay. Governance,
Nothing.
Martin Luther King Committee.
Only thing we're doing at this particular point, because we've already got the MC, we already got the musical entertainment, is we are trying to connect with our keynote speakers. So we have 3 top people, and so we're reaching out, and that's where we're at right now.
Who's your MC? Can you tell us? Can you tell us who the MC is?
Same lady from last year, our interim chancellor over at P&W, is it P&W?
Okay, great. P5?
Oh, Yes, fantastic news. Pride happened on Saturday, and we had approximately 3,000 people participate. And I do believe we had 38 vendors. And we had the vendors with information. We had artistic vendors that were doing face painting. We had music. We had food trucks. Everybody just had a really wonderful time. So, I want to thank the commission for supporting that effort, and hopefully we'll be able to count on you again in the future. I want to give a shout out to Daisy Lee, who is the chair of the event, and to her committee also, because they worked extremely hard to pull everything together, including, really awesome entertainment. So many happy people, and I know a lot of our LGBTQ youth really felt the love and the support of everybody in Michigan City that was there. So it really was a love fest, I'll just say that, and people were really positive about it. We only had 2 people that were out there with their little bullhorn and, doing what they did last year, but the police were great about, just moving them on down so they weren't hassling people. Okay, so that's that. Any questions about that or anything? We got 2 newspaper articles out of it locally with the News Dispatch, so, if you want to read more, you can.
It was wonderful. I think that, it should be said over and over that it's so amazing to see just individuals come together and create something for the public on their own. I think it's just so admirable. They did a great job. It takes a lot to put on an event, and they were such a gift to Michigan City that day for sure. So yeah, they should be congratulated, and we're so lucky to have people like this in Michigan City doing such good work.
Yeah, absolutely. So our next PFLAG meeting, we didn't have one this month because people were really involved with putting on Pride. The PFLAG meetings are the 4th Thursday of every month, so the next one will be on July 25th, 6:30 p.m. We hold those meetings at the Art Space Lofts in the Uptown Arts District in Michigan City. And at every meeting, we try to include advocacy, education, and support. So we haven't had time to talk specifically about what topic we're going to have, but that will be determined at our next board meeting. So, everybody's welcome to that. That's for parents, it's for friends, it's for the LGBTQ community, it's for our allies. Anybody is welcome to come to those meetings.
Thank you. We don't have anything listed under old business. Does that need to be updated?
Maybe. I'm not sure if it's old or new, but we had talked about, and it kind of goes with the educational or the resources, the materials that we're going to create, looking for a pop-up or any kind of banners or signage that we could have if we're going, if a commissioner is out in the community or at an event like Pride. We were talking about, hopefully you guys remember, I think this was in May, a banner or a pop-up. So I sent information to Carl and to all of you that, I'm sorry, I don't have a printer, that outlines just to get something going. It would be under $200. It would be my recommendation, but see what you guys think moving forward is to have at least a banner, a table topper, and what was the third thing?
Trifold brochures, maybe?
Those, we do need those, but it was maybe it was more like a pop-up, so you could pull it up. It depends on the venue you'd be at, whether the background you could hang a banner or a pop-up was easier, and then table topper. That's it. My recommendation would be to have 2 of those in case commissioners are having events on the same day, and maybe that could be a foundational start of a marketing kind of kit along with some of these educational pieces for our community. So that would be something to vote next meeting maybe, or take a look at your email and maybe
Is there
it could be
anything that we
included.
would need to do before next meeting if we wanted to vote on it next meeting?
You probably should vote on it, the sooner you vote on it, and if it's a financial
I don't know.
requirement, we need to get that, because that has to go to the
Could
works.
So you had sent it to Carl.
I sent it to everyone, I believe.
Yeah, I see.
Yes, I did, yes.
It was just
It just asked, yeah, it was just today, so,
So we need some time.
We need
So
some time.
let's say, let's
Amazing.
put it on the agenda to vote on it for next time,
Mhm.
because it's not like there's some pressing thing we need it for, we just wanna get the ball rolling. And that gives everybody a month to look at it and make any revisions if
it's very
needed.
basic, yeah.
Okay, I think that'd be great. I think that, when things like Pride come up, it makes it so much easier for somebody to say, yeah, I'll go do that, because I know I'm picking up tablecloth, the pop-up, and the wrap cards.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're just like, what am I gonna do? Just sit out there and, so yeah, I think that's great.
It's 182.47 for just kind of the bare minimum.
Oh, is that all?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
You have the
That's
vinyl
real
banner is
crazy.
$9.99. Is that with printing on it and everything?
That was from this is from Vistaprint, so it depends on how elaborate we're gonna get, so these are starting points, so that's kind of a range until we get in and I didn't dig and like, oh, I want 2 colors and I wanna use this.
So the $9.99 is
So,
a starting point.
It's a
that's not
starting,
the-
correct.
Okay.
So
So we'll have
it
some
could
time
differ
to, on
greatly
that email thread, populate what it really might be.
And just a suggestion, I mean, I think it's important that the community knows that Carl's a VP. I mean, it's kind of a surprise to me if we're on a commission that our executive director is out doing things. So I don't know if that would be, have a biography or maybe it could be part of the marketing materials. It just shows, in my opinion, clout. I mean, our executive director is all around our state, but I don't think our own town. I don't know. I didn't know about it.
I knew about it, I don't know.
I'm sorry. I didn't know. And it's just me.
One of the things about being on this commission, we have a connection with the ICRC, which is the Indiana Civil Rights Commission. They are willing to work with any commission, support you, whether it means promotions or any kind of presentation, paperwork, pamphlets, for example, disability. So my role in trying to put together this conference was to try to take ideas from all of you at the table. So we had mental health, we had community health, we had disability, I thought we covered the gamut of basically everyone's interest
That's
here.
great.
So we try to work with these different agencies. We can work with South Bend, we can work with Hammond. Valparaiso is trying to start a commission. So if we network with these different agencies, we can find out, we can be supportive of each one's ideas and bring them back to the
And
table.
Joanne, I think you're right that, it will be nice to, as we put together, our like marketing packet or our
Yeah,
educational
add to
packet
it.
for to say, a little bit about the staff of the department and what the department does.
I will say
Have our
this,
biographies on the website.
everything, when Joanne comes up with an idea, she generally goes all the way through it,
Oh, sorry.
and
Don't-
she
Don't knock me
presents a
down now,
complete-
I'm almost done.
she presents a complete product. So when all you have to do is say yay or nay. Well, she just announced that she's resigning, so someone's got to pick up that mantle because the little details is what she's good at. And so when she presents something to you, it's pretty much right on. And you can take it and run, so.
Okay, great.
And Joanne,
Thank you.
I'd like,
swan song,
No,
Joanne.
I
That's your swan song.
I didn't mean it to circle back. I just think building on the marketing materials, so my point was. And here's an example too, if you're talking about detail, if someone is leaving, I think it is important to pass the baton because we work so hard at what we're doing. Why are we gonna go backwards again?
Sure.
Yeah, it has nothing to do with me, and anyone can do it. So I think it's how you value your commission and what you've done together as a whole. Why, there is someone in the community that can pick it up, but don't make them start from scratch. If you didn't like it, change it. At least it's a foundation, and that's what I was talking about with the marketing materials. Let's create a foundation that we can all use. It's not disability related, it's for all of us.
Sure.
Because I think we should be, personally, I just think we should be pushing and tooting our own horn because we all do so much, and I just don't feel like our community knows about our commission. So that was my point in our executive director and what we do. So we all do great things, and I just think it's really important to showcase it, because if we're not telling people, then how are they going to know? Our website doesn't say anything about us
And I
what we're
think
doing.
that it's,
not, again, it's not
that goes back
us,
to the
it's what they can be
conversation.
part of too.
that goes
Yeah.
back to the conversation that we've had about keeping our committee strong. making sure that every month we have committee reports to be able to say, here's what we're working on, here's what we're doing, so that we're not just saying we are the people on the Human Rights Commission, but and here's exactly what we're doing. These are what our projects are doing.
I would think, and just a suggestion, sometimes when the doors do change and there are three of us that are taking different journeys, that to take it as a good opportunity to start putting some other building blocks in place, getting the treasurer, like you said, making sure we're shoring up the right people. Don't just say we have a name on a committee, because in my opinion, and this isn't pointing fingers because I'm the same, but I think we should all come to the table at each meeting. We only meet once a month, and have a report and keep the balls rolling and keep that strength going.
Right.
And I know we're all busy, so I mean it in a good way, because I think we have a lot to offer, and I think the community could really benefit as well. If we just keep that ball kind of at the same momentum. And I know summer, we can't all attend all the meetings, but we're doing great things. So kudos to all you. But anyway, to get the materials that we need to do our jobs.
I just like to add, I like the idea about the marketing materials. I just suggest that we maybe get some local pricing.
For sure.
And I'll be willing to actually get that
And
stuff.
I didn't have time.
No, that's okay, I understand that.
Yeah, I just want to give you something to work with at
I'm willing to
least.
follow up with what Joanne started and get some local pricing.
Great, good.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm sure they would do something really great.
Okay, thank you.
Abby, if I could add, under old business, Carl, did you find that invoice?
Yes, I did. That invoice, your registration was $134.24. Mileage is 58 cents. From this location is 181 miles. I don't know exactly what you put on yours. Diana as well. That's something for the commission to decide how you guys want to address that.
What about Diana's room and board? Is that all paid for?
As a result of the consortium efforts, we were able to actually pay for Diana's room and registration.
That's great.
Yeah, good. So it didn't cost us. So all we need is my registration and mileage.
Okay, I make a motion that we cover registration and mileage. For
Both Diana and
yeah, absolutely for both, yes.
My second.
Is that specific enough for you, or do you want?
I'm good.
You're good?
Yeah.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
And one other thing, then I'll shut up, is let us get to our voting here. And just kind of echoing what Joanne said, I did want to, I may seem to berate you guys a lot, but I do want to thank you all for being here 2 days before the 4th of July. It was fantastic to be here. I also want to thank Steve, because if you can't come to the meetings, then you should resign. It's very hard to eliminate a commissioner that has to be for malfeasance in office. So it's hard to eliminate somebody according to the ordinance. So I do want to thank him for relatively properly resigning, and for Joanne resigning, she can't be here. So I do want to thank all of you. It's really tough. It's a bad day. It's a hot day right before the 4th, and I want to thank you guys for all. I'll give you all a pat on the back for being here. But I'll let it go on to the.
I'm just kidding.
I'll let it go on to the more important matters.
That's why we pay you, Larry.
To berate you.
So, now, under new business, we have Youth Commission nomination. I don't know if this is on here because somebody had a Youth Commission nominee, or if it's because we have been asked to put forth a nomination.
Yes, it's in the ordinance that we're not trying to find the ordinance that we appoint.
So people don't have a name yet.
yeah, actually we have one name submitted. That is Mr. Chris Lane, and I did not get his information from the clerk's office. It's on file with the clerk's office. Mr. Nathan Patrick actually encouraged Mr. Lane to come up and apply to be on the youth commission. Mr. Lane is the son of Reverend James Lane here in our city. He's come in. As a matter of fact, he actually came into my office some time ago, and he worked with the, got a job with the painters union, and wound up working out here at our new hospital. This was in the effort to, actually he went through the Indiana plan, I will say that. It's what he actually did. He's our only person who went through the Indiana plan.
Wow.
That's great.
Chris, you talking about Chris or James?
Chris.
Okay.
James is the daddy, right?
No, yeah, it's a son, James.
Okay.
So just make sure you're talking.
But yeah, I'm talking about Chris.
Okay.
And so Chris he got rave reviews about his performance on the job. He had an opportunity to continue in the job, but he told me that for personal reasons he didn't want to join the union because it would take him away from the actual city. He was working at the hospital, but they wanted to offer him a permanent job. And that permanent job would have meant that he would have to go around to different cities as a union painter. And he opted not to do that. But he wants to be a part of our youth commission.
Carl, is he between the ages of 16 and 22?
Yes, he is.
So, he came to you and said, I would like to be the Human Rights Commission's nominee
He
for
came
the
in.
Youth Commission?
I actually missed him. He came in and they came to the clerk's office and filled out the proper paperwork. And so I didn't actually speak to him personally about it. I'm just having background.
Did he request to be our nominee or
Yes.
just to be on it?
No, our nominee.
Okay, and that's what the process is?
Yeah.
That that they should come in and say, I want to be the nominee of this group or that group?
Larry, can you,
Well, as far as people being on this commission, whether, at the council meetings, what we get, prior to the council meetings, is the nominee or the person interested goes into the clerk's office and fills out the proper commission paper that they want to be on and why they want to be on it. And that's what we receive. Okay, now this gentleman, I don't know, Chris, if someone on the council knows him and nominates him, then the council will vote yes or no whether they want him on the.
And do you receive?
Pardon?
Do you receive something on his behalf, or a bio, or?
What we receive is whatever they fill out in the clerk's office, and that's the piece of paper we receive. And then at the council meeting, if the individual comes, then they can come up to the microphone and tell the council about themselves and their background and what have you. Or sometimes people don't show up and the councilman will talk about the person, the councilman that's making the nomination, and that councilman gets a second on that person's nomination, then the council will vote on them.
What if they're an appointee of a certain commission? You guys still pick, how does that work? Don't they have to get approval from the commission first before?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So is this the step that we would say, the nominee of the Human Rights Commission to go to the Youth Commission is this person?
Right.
And then you guys would approve it based on our suggestion?
Right.
Okay.
That's the way I understand it.
Yeah.
But there would have
that's
to
what
be
I
somebody on the
understand,
council, to take that
Right.
nomination.
Do
from the
we
council
only
forward.
get to nominate one person?
Correct.
Yes,
That's what the ordinance says.
yes.
And a specific date or
And like the
So
Women's
ongoing?
Commission has somebody and some of the other commissions have.
Social status.
Is there a date by which we
Social
need to put
status.
forth our nominee?
It's passed.
It's already, since we haven't had quorums, we haven't been able to do this, so we need to try to do this as quickly as possible.
I guess I just have a question about, however we move in the future, let's just look at a more, unified way of communicating what that process
sure.
is.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
I did communicate to a couple of people, but there are so many great organizations in our community that work with youth and support youth. And we could definitely, inform them, which I
didn't know that we
informed
were
one
gonna
of
be making a nomination.
well, and
I know
inform them to
somebody
say,
else.
hey, this is what our ordinance say, if you have somebody that can be recommended from your, youth agency, let's look at
It
that.
would allow us to cast a broader
That's all.
net. I mean, I can think
Yeah.
of so many people
But Chris
who would
is
love
a
that opportunity.
Great young man, so.
I'm sure.
Oh,
I'm
yeah,
sure.
he is. No, just saying, however, if we move forward,
Yeah.
however long his, tenure is, I'm talking college, sorry. However long his time is, let's just look forward about coming up with a process
Yeah, and it might be just a suggestion, since it would be the Human Rights Commission's nominee to the Youth Commission, that you might wanna, and I don't know how many of you folks know this gentleman, you know, would you wanna sit down, you know, in a meeting and
That's
talk
why I
to
asked
this
what the
gentleman,
timeframe
and at
was.
least get a feel for who he is?
Because I
and
don't
stuff,
know
and-
who he is.
Sure, we'll just vote, that's up to the commission.
Yeah. and I-
that would be
I had-
possible.
I had
And
some.
we discussed this last month, but we did not have.
We had
And
nobody
the
last
council,
time.
and the council, Abigail, is in no hurry to put, whenever you come up with the nominee, then
Because
we'll
I'm
bring him
thinking
from
too,
council.
that, you know, everybody wants this youth commission to be so robust and
Right.
powerful,
Right.
that, let's say, if we had a little bit of time, and we were all able to reach out to the children in our to the youth in our organizations who we think would be great for this, then we could set a time for, if not all of us, maybe like a group of us,
core group
to
of
talk
us,
to
yeah.
each of them and say, okay, this one is going to be the nominee of the Human Rights Commission. However, surely there are other open seats, right? That would be maybe mayoral appointments or
Those are already taken care of.
all of them? Are we the
Yeah,
last
I
one?
think there's only
Oh
one.
my word, okay.
So I
See.
I wouldn't do individual, I would do a group.
yeah, so what I would like to say though is that I think it's honorable that Chris stepped up and came forward and didn't
For
wait for
sure.
anybody. So I'd like to make a motion to approve Chris Lane for our representative to the youth commission.
I second that motion.
Before we have a vote on this, I just want to make sure, the other qualifications here, he lives in the city of Michigan City, correct?
Yes.
Must live in the Michigan City area, and at the time of their appointment have demonstrated community involvement and leadership qualities, and again, the age 16 to 22, other than that.
Okay. Nancy, you said that you,
I had somebody that was recommended by one of the teachers at the high school.
but they did not fill out the paperwork.
No.
Okay, so we have a nomination and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, well, wonderful. I'm sure he'll do great work on behalf. I'm sure he will.
I think we should invite him to the next meeting.
that was
Very
good.
important. Because if we're running into him, I wouldn't know him if I felt like it.
And it would be nice to be able to
And he
talk to
should know us, and we should
him
embrace him.
and explain, you know, this is the mission of the Human Rights Commission. Here's what we would hope you would keep in mind as the nominee put forth from this commission. So he can always have that touchstone in his mind. That would be great. And to know that he has a whole commission of people who can be a resource for him. So if he's like, I'd like to do this as a new commissioner, and I don't know how to do this or reach out to this person, this commission could be a group of people that he could reach out and say, could you help me do this? I'm not really sure how to navigate that yet. So great, that's so exciting. Okay, so now we're at public comment, and we
No,
have.
hold on, we got one more, we got the treasurer, we have to appoint, and I just, yes, since Sharon resigned, we need a treasurer. So hopefully somebody will volunteer for that position. If they don't, then it'd be up to the chair to appoint somebody.
We don't have a
just-
chair.
You need a chair. Steve is a chair.
Well,
Well, you
the
have the
acting
chair
chair
now.
is.
Yes,
I know, maybe Carl can elaborate on this, but it's not really all that difficult. There might be a few more financial committee meetings to attend, but I don't think you don't really have to have a banking background to be the financial officer. I mean, the city pretty much controls everything that happens, and you're just reporting to the board. So I know everybody's going to jump forward, and everybody at once is going to come forward and raise their
But
hand.
nobody don't wanna touch nobody's money. That's really what it boils down
Well,
to.
it used to
Can't really touch no money.
It used to be we had control of the money, but we really do
Everybody
not
fight over
have.
money.
We do not have.
All you gotta do is have a strong relationship with somebody in controller's office and get your ledger together, and that's it.
So I'll throw it back to the chair to go through the nomination
Maybe it might be
process.
new commissioners, wait, just wait.
Okay. We're not giving anybody any time, or?
There's 3 new
Okay.
commissioners that might be coming in, maybe
Yeah.
that's
Yeah, we
an
can stick
opportunity
that
for that insight.
Yeah, but
Oh,
you-
you
I mean,
do.
we'd like to
I
have
know you'd be
a
waiting and waiting
We'd
though.
like to have a brand new commissioner.
Let's start here. Is
You're
there,
already behind.
They might be
is there
financially
somebody
based.
who would like to volunteer to finish the rest of the year as treasurer.
I would, but I'm leaving.
How much work is involved in it?
Again, you can ask Carl.
Carl?
Actually, Marty is the.
I already just told you. All right, let's do it this way. Gentlemen, how much work is truly involved in it?
So I am the treasurer for the Social Status Committee, and I can tell you I have a great relationship with Tamiko and everybody in the office, and all I do is I ask once a month for a status of what our account is, and I have a ledger already built up, and I take whatever, any subtractions or additions, and put in my ledger, and that's it.
Can I make a suggestion? Would you be willing to make an introduction for Diana?
Yeah, you know what, so here's what I do, here's what I do.
Make that
I will finish out
relationship
I will finish out the year if Mrs. Gore will tag team with me, so she can kind of learn
Deal.
and continue. I'll do that.
Great. Perfect.
I'd also like to offer, I have an Excel sheet that's really easy. So if you get your ledger and then you've got ins and outs, you just put it in your Excel sheet and then you can use your ledger. So if that's another tool, I can just, did you do the Excel? I can't remember if you know Excel or not. No? The training? I can't remember.
Well,
because we.
Let's, for the
Never
sake of
mind.
not putting Diana on the spot, and since we still have some time to go, and since Marty said that he would be co-treasurer
As long as Mrs. Gore.
yes, as long as Mrs. Gore tags team, so that you, in the new year, would feel confident you will have formed the relationship with the people in the controller's office, and you will be always on the communication of Marty asking the questions to get from the information from the controller's office. That will become more familiar to you. It's like what we were saying, things are intimidating until they are not. So with that being said, Larry, would we need to name Marty as treasurer? Okay, so I nominate Marty to be treasurer.
Second.
All in
Or
favor?
with the
The exception.
the exception he made, that Ms. Gore. So that has to go along with the nomination.
Ms. Gore,
Maybe you want to put a date on it.
Ms. Gore,
Okay, well, I second.
let's say tomorrow she says, I can't be on the commission anymore, he's still gonna do it.
I'm resigning too.
Yeah. We all know how it goes.
I second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Oppose?
Can I vote?
Congratulations. Okay,
Back in the saddle again.
wonderful. So now,
When's the next finance committee meeting?
Yeah, let me,
wait, what, you're asking to
Yeah,
have
meet
a
us
plan
three.
now?
we can talk afterwards.
Okay, so now, we're at public comment, and we have Hubert Morgan here, who is a consultant hired by the RDC. He's from Stanhope Consulting, and he has been in our community for what feels like forever now, but maybe a year or so. And he has been doing outreach within the community to ensure that the plaza, which will be in the Uptown Arts District, is a project that reflects our entire community and our interests and passions as a community. Is that fair?
That's fair.
If I may, I gotta go. I gotta get ready for the council meeting, so.
It is a
And
I
before
think
Ms.
you've heard it a time or two.
Yeah.
Thank you, John.
Thank you.
And before Mr. Morgan goes, we're talking about treasurer, so are we officially your chairperson and then who's vice chair? Because then we have an opening there too, don't we?
Well,
Or how does that work, Larry? Larry?
Yeah, that's
Just, I mean,
a
if
very
we're
good
gonna,
point, 'cause we do have a
everyone to their
vacancy.
seats, you know, Nancy brought it up, but.
We do need we need a vote for a new vice chair.
So if I
nominate Nancy for vice chair.
Oh,
that
okay.
would be great. Yeah.
Wasn't Steve the chair?
Yes.
So you have to vote for chair.
So.
Well, I believe the vice chair automatically takes over from the chair.
So do we
By the
officially-
bylaws out. So she, vice chair, will perform the duties of the chairperson in the absence, removal, resignation, or vacancy of the chairperson. So she is the chair. We can vote for her if you'd like. There won't be any problem. We do need to vote for a vice chair.
I'd like to nominate Nancy, please.
I would second. All in favor, any further discussion?
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
Yeah, I second it. Opposed?
Okay.
Thank you, Joanne, that's why I'm gonna miss you,
Sorry about that.
Joanne.
No,
because
actually, it was
I
Nancy. I take no
completely
credit.
forgot about
I was
it.
like, why did I my
This was so good that I wouldn't actually have to be the chair.
Since Abby's always
So-
here and doing such a great job, I just figured I was
Perfect for
happy.
you. You're doing a good job, everybody. Oh, sorry, Hubert.
Okay,
You're on.
Hubert.
Thank you very much, Abigail.
I'm going
Because Don
to,
told me, I guess.
I'm going to excuse myself, not because this isn't interesting, but I have heard this presentation already at the Sustainability Commission meeting, and I have some place I need to get to.
Thank
So,
you.
yeah.
Same with me. I gotta
No.
Thank you.
Oh, geez, Hubert. I'm sorry.
Thank you, Nancy, congratulations.
Can I excuse myself also? I heard the presentation, the social status.
Sure.
It's not until
Gonna hurt Hubert's feelings, but yes.
social status.
He does a good job.
Alright, on your way.
You can-
Oh, Christ.
So I'm just gonna stick myself here.
Yes, you know how I am with this weather. We should.
Good evening, everyone.
Good
Hello.
evening, Hubert.
I'm
We
gonna-
love you, Hubert.
Usually they don't take this long, but we
I
haven't.
I didn't take it personally.
Good.
I just wanted to thank this young man first because he invited me here. One of the first people who I met with when I came to do the outreach initially on the Plaza project. So thank you. This young woman, oh my goodness, I have the pleasure of working with her just about every week on this project. And one of your young leaders in Michigan City, kudos. It's a
Thank you.
pleasure. It's a pleasure.
Your pleasure too, Hubert.
There are a couple more people who I've worked with. So, Score, thank you. How much time do I have?
10, 15 minutes?
10, 15 minutes? Okay.
Well,
Is that
is that-
reasonable?
I'm gonna have to leave,
See,
but I can get
yeah, I do
it
too.
from the video.
Okay. Okay. So I will be quick. Okay. This is how I'm going to use my time. I'm going to cover the work that I did. We got all this feedback from reaching out to the community across Michigan City, and we took what we heard. We did some work as staff, and now what we're doing is reaching back out to stakeholders and to commissions and anyone who wants to listen. But particularly because this month we're going to ask the City Council to take action where the plaza is concerned. So this is where we are now. But let me just quickly back up. I was here in the autumn, and during that period of time met with stakeholders across Michigan City to talk about if we built a plaza downtown, how could it strengthen our city, and how could we hear from you? You know, what are the type of ideas that you would like to be able to have programmatically on the plaza? So we met with stakeholders, all different types of stakeholders. But I'm proud to say that we met with young people. So we met with about 70 elementary school kids. And they shared with us all the exciting things that when they traveled and when they go to Valparaiso or Chicago and what they experience, what they wanted to have at their plaza. And they shared that with us. We met with high school kids, and they had another list that they shared with us. And one of the things that we heard back, and I say this at every meeting, so those of you who have heard it, just be patient with me. One of the things that young kids said in asking, if you came to a plaza that you designed, what is it that you would be most excited about? And would you take your friends and would you take your parents? When we asked the question about their parents, something like 67% of them said they would not take their parents. I'm just going to ask you, why do you think that is?
Yeah, just because young people usually don't want to do things with their parents, period.
Right.
So here was the response. We have submitted to you these ideas, and we think it's exciting to be at a plaza that we can have a good time. Too often, our parents are too safe, too cautious with what we want to do, and it just cramps our style, right? They were excited, but they were restrictive in terms of who they would take. But when we asked, would you take your friends? 90-something% of them said yes. So that's with kids. When we spoke with older people, older than just high school kids, they wanted a plaza where if they came, there was also something to do with their kids. Excited about the fact that there could be a plaza here and a plaza for everyone. So I was going to say to Ms. Tedesco, she was instrumental in my meeting with people with disabilities. Mm-hmm. What I learned there was the fact that if I have a disability, I want to be able to be consumed in a way that allows me to be able to be excited about the experience that I'm in. And too often, everything comes up short. The question was, so what could that look like? And what I learned was, if I can't see, I need something to stimulate me. If I can't hear, I need something to stimulate me. And those were the types of feedback that we got. And I'll list a couple of other experiences that we took that back. And when we decided to design the plaza, there's going to be this experience where it responds to your sensory relationship with the plaza. This was the purpose of reaching out to this broadest cross-section. Met with people who advocate on behalf of the homeless. So the Salvation Army hosted me, and we met with 22 homeless men. Their expression to my question about what would you like to see at the plaza was, today my fate is not a good one, right? Because today I happen to be homeless. But my passion sometimes is I love to listen to music, or I love to watch a movie, and I can't do that in my current state. If I were allowed to go downtown and go to the plaza, I would love to have movies in the park or music in the park. And we had to define for them what a plaza was versus a park. It's a gathering place, right? So that was another group of stakeholders. Had the pleasure of being at, remind me, the center, the senior center, I think it starts with a K?
You're thinking of Krieger Memorial Hall, and then there's the senior center.
So not the senior center, it's oh my goodness, it's in my report. Took pictures with people, this lady who was 106 years old.
Rittenhouse?
Rittenhouse, thank you. They want a place that's safe. They want shelters. They want to be able to drive up in their bus and not have to walk multiple blocks, right? So we did all of this outreach. We had all of these ideas in terms of how we would programmatically do a plaza. What we did was we brought all of that information, and we have architects and landscape architects and engineers and people like that, and we have a team, and we took all of that information and we brought in some experts, and Abby, in her position with Main Street, was able to say that we put on these types of activities during the course of the year, programmatic activities. We made some assumptions in terms of what would it take to run a plaza based on what we got in terms of ideas. Who did we need to hire? The construct of running the plaza. So one of the things that we now have is a set of bylaws that we're writing up, because we want to take the responsibility of running the plaza out of the hands of the city, and we're creating a 501c3 with a board, with committees to be responsible for running the plaza, doing fundraising, programmatically doing things. You just nominated someone for the Youth Commission. I'm just going to call you out again because the Youth Commission, we interfaced with Sean Fitzpatrick, who is a councilman who is in charge of the Youth Commission, and we said we will co-facilitate a strategic session to be able to kind of form a mission for the Youth Commission and a vision and this type of thing. And if they would want to, there is a role for programmatic work at the plaza to have youth a voice, be a part of that. And that would be an opportunity because we don't listen to youth enough. So this is what we have as a set of bylaws that we're going to be running by, people who have expertise in running 501c3s. So we have a whole host of things that we are working on now and outreach that we're doing to be able to ask the question of elected officials to say, we have done our due diligence in terms of how we feel the plaza would operate, the type of programmatic things that we could have there, the governance of the plaza, making sure that people in the communities feel that they have a vested interest and that there is something in it for them, both entrepreneurially and just to know that we're using coining this phrase, that this tool would be their living room to be able to do things with both themselves and their families. It's quite exciting. So we are now at a point where in this room quite a bit, facing this camera, and the people who have the civic investment in the city in which they live, to share with them where we are and what we're about to do. So, do you want to add something?
No, I think, every time there's an opportunity for our community to feel that we are given not only venues but pathways to collaborate and coordinate, I think that's a positive thing. The Uptown Arts District is an area that has been, thanks to Main Street Association, experienced very robust programming. The Flame and Flare Festival is a time that I really look forward to seeing thousands of the Safe Harbor students that I get to work with and the students, that I used to teach come through and go trick-or-treating and see the fire dancers and run the streets and feel like it's really theirs. It was maybe my favorite day of the year. The Taste of Michigan City is a wonderful time to be able to showcase the people who run these restaurants in our community. Also showcasing local musicians. Soul Steppers are, our main stage opener, and our whole city comes out and is together and having so much fun, and you, for 2 days, get to watch everybody have so much fun together, I can't think of anything else in our community that makes me love living here that much. So I'm so thankful to Main Street Association for creating these opportunities, and I think having a plaza in the Uptown Arts District will create 300 days a year where there's some sort of programming that makes people feel like I'm going to go to my plaza in my Uptown Arts District. And while it won't be like the Main Street programming 300 days a year, it will create a sense of investment and opportunity to program for more people. I like living in Michigan City because it's a place where we can create things and watch them happen. And I'm thankful to have been able to be part of this process. I'm thankful that there are few people that I work with in the community who have not at some point been able to, say what they wanted to see in their plaza. And I think that's very cool. So I appreciate you for doing that work. I look forward to, being able to continue to contribute and as the president of Main Street Association, being able to continue to provide the wisdom and programming to this plaza project that will be necessary. And as an educator in this community, I look forward to being able to program parts of the plaza and a learning lab for the students that I get to work with, and to show them an opportunity for them to learn how to program on their own, which has been something that I've really struggled with. How could we make that happen up until now? So I think it's very cool. I'm thankful for the opportunity, and I'm thankful for you, Hubert.
Thank you, thank you. Yeah, let me just also add quickly that in working with community residents, and it's where we have our meetings, whether it's in churches or church basements or just places of faith. There are people who live here in Michigan City who don't frequent downtown. The ideas that we have gotten have allowed them to see that there are those possibilities. So we are trying to work out entrepreneurial things that they could do, that they too could also gain. We've been working with A.K. Smith, for instance, to make sure that some of the things that we're doing, local artisans and people who are in the school system, there is an educational bent to it. So it's quite exciting.
Well, thank you for coming, Hubert.
Thank you, good presentation.
Thank you.
Yes.
Anybody have any questions? Okay, well, thank you. I don't know if we have a quorum yet to motion to adjourn, so we'll just stay here forever.
Okay, so moved.
Good job, Abby, congratulations.
Well,
Good job, Ed.